free. Tulikuwa na Kebaso Morara kawa sukari. Alikuwa na sort up office yake ku set up. So kuna gari ilikuwa imekuja hapo KCQ 166J. So kwenda kufungua gate nikauliza nyinyi wakina nani? Ukaniambia kuna mmoja alitoa ID, kwa walikuwa karibu watu 6 na mmoja akatoa ID akasema DCI. Tukamwambia sawa, acha tu proceed. So tukiproceed kufika huko juu, kuelezea zaidi, walishika Morara wakamweka pingo, wakachukua masimu zake zote mbili, iPhone, Samsung, laptop pia ilikuwa hapo, wakachukua wakamteremsha chini kama wameingiza kwa gari. So tukabidi tukachukua gari nyingine, tumewafuata paka hapa kwa headquarters.
So na wenda waliwaeleza kwa nini wanamshika na waliwaje kujitambulisha au ni DCI kutoka wapi, na mlijuaje ni DCI kando na kuonyesha ile ID?
Alitoa tu hiyo peke yake, mmoja ndiye alitoa, hao wengine wengi walikuwa wamevaa mask au kujitambulisha. Mmoja ndiye alitoa place ya kwenda na kutuambia wanaenda wapi. So tulikuwa tunafuata tujue wanaenda wapi.
Na uliweza soma jina la ID lilisema askari ni nani ama?
Hapana, alikuwa ameshikilia hivi, sasa naona hiyo DCI peke yake. Hao wengine walikuwa wamevaa mask. So sasa sikuanza kuwatambua.
The UDA government was not going to stomach Morara Kebaso traversing this country exposing stalled projects that had gobbled a lot of money that had been launched, because whenever William Ruto travels to a place to launch a project, he's got a whole brigade of the UDA, the ministers and all the government apologists, and there's a lot of money that is wasted. And so when Morara Kebaso started, moving around, the DCI, the NIS, the deep state was watching very closely. And so when we got this news that Morara has been abducted, we knew, we were not shocked, because this government cannot tolerate anyone who is a critic to them. Now, as the lawyer or the friends there say, they picked him up, and the person who picked him was saying is a DCI. Now you wonder what Morara has done. And this arrest is coming barely a day before the impeachment motion of Rigathi Gachagua. If you listen or you read Morara's stand on the war between William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, Morara has maintained that this is a supremacy battle meant to divert our attention, and therefore we should not get into it. We cannot accept to go back to the old days. Now, you all know the role that Morara Kebaso is playing, but I want to take a halt and take you back to Mombasa. There is a sad story that has been happening there, and today it even came out so loudly, because this story is touching on the Mombasa governor, Abdul Swamad, a blogger there who is only 25 years old. I'm forgetting the name of this guy here, was abducted. I watched that video. We cannot show it on YouTube because of the policies. They don't allow it. But I watched one of the saddest videos I have ever seen. A gang of more than 10 boys, 10 men, humiliating a fellow man, because that act was not only diabolic, but it was humiliating, debasing, and it is meant to take away the ego. And in fact, I want to give it up to him for even coming up to speak about it, because he gave us that story. He recounted the ordeal that he went through, of how those people came and picked him up under the guise of policemen. And because when he was saying that when they came, there were so many, and neighbors came to find out what is happening, and they portrayed a picture of very nice policemen, and they said, we have come to pick him up. And neighbors were convinced. and they left him. They went. So he's saying that once they had gone to a certain distance, they started manhandling him, removing his clothes, beating him up, and the culmination of it was that sodomy, something that should not be accepted. Now, it was linked to the Mombasa governor, and today he came out and he condemned it. He was saying he was trying to distance himself. And even I think the Lance CS in Mombasa County had been arrested, and today he was released and he received a heroic welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, why am I trying to connect these two acts? You know, both of them involve the name of the DCI. Both of them involve people picking you up. And then once you are gone, you are in their hands. And I find it very difficult because apart from the DCI connection, the two stories revolve around criticism. Morara has been abducted because he's criticizing the government. That young boy, we are told, alleged that he's been criticizing the government of Mombasa. And I'm thinking, how can a government be so scared about people who are criticizing it? Because I thought that we learn by critics. How can you be so naive, or rather diabolic to an extent that when people criticize you, you do such acts? That man he was humiliated, and they were threatening him that in any case you talk about whatever is happening in Mombasa, then we will expose you, because they know that it is shameful, very humiliating when such acts such acts descend upon you. We have a constitution. We have a government that has always promised that we will not go back to the Nyayo eras. William Ruto used to complain that his boss charged the police, the independent institutions, to persecute and to victimize those who held a different political opinion from them. We have got bloggers who have died in the hands. We still remember the blogger who died in Meru. That was also linked to a governor, allegedly. In Nyanza, there's one who was picked and they just got away with him. We don't know where he's up to date. In Kisii, I think there was another one. You know, we're in the era where the democratic space has been expanded. The social media plays a very big role. When Gen Zs went to the streets, they used to communicate via social media. They could communicate via Twitter, Facebook, the cloud, and it has formed a very significant role when you use the social media. This is an act of trying to gag those who criticize both the national and the county government. It would be wrong if a governor that is linked to ODM gets himself or herself in a situation where they are also being accused of perpetuating such atrocities. Then there will be no difference, because as an opposition, they should be speaking against such ills in the government. They are even humiliating the ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga, and I'm not saying that the governor did it. It is only humiliating that even his name could be associated with it. It is wrong. It's how I wish that this is not true. How I wish that he is very innocent, because it can be very bad. We should give each and every person his or her space. Positive criticism, just highlighting the negatives in the government so that they learn from it. What is the difference between that and what the mainstream media is doing? The government is saying that he's not part of it, and those people are not associated in any way to him. The DCI must now rein in. But do you think the DCI can do anything? They are part and parcel of this government. Do you think the DCI can provide justice? For Morara Kebaso, I think they want to know who is the source of the funds. Of course, they saw Morara Kebaso, people contributing money here and there. They would want to start, who is sponsoring you, where do you get the money? Because this government is just a very funny one. It is Uhuru Kenyatta, it is the Ford Foundation, it is Rigathi Gachagua, and you wonder, so who exactly is becoming a thorn in the flesh to this government? Ladies and gentlemen, these two acts reminds us of the dark days. You remember just the other day, people like Bob Jagi and the two brothers were hijacked, were kidnapped. It took a lot of push and pull before they were released. It is meant to create fear, but the government must understand that you can kill as many as you want, but the forces that will speak against the atrocities in the government can never be stopped. The best way is just to do the right thing, and we will have peace in this country. I feel sad because our young men have ventured into social media, and when you want to gag them, thinking that you are gagging opposition, it will not work. We call for the speedy investigation into this young man from Mombasa, this blogger, and speedy emancipation and release of Morara Kebaso.